Hi, I'm Sophie, your language learning partner from CatchyEnglish. Today, we'll go through a full day together in English, from morning to night. You'll hear 200 simple and natural sentences that you can use in your daily routine. Listen carefully, repeat after me, and practice out loud. The more you practice, the more confident and fluent you'll become. Let's begin our day together. Starting with the morning routine. Let's talk about your morning. The way you start your day can shape everything that comes after. And one of the best times to practice English is in the morning, when your mind is fresh and ready to learn. I want you to imagine this. You wake up, stretch your arms, and before you even touch your phone, you speak a little English, just a few words. For example, you can say out loud, "Good morning, world. Today will be a great day. I feel awake and ready." It might feel small, but saying simple sentences in English first thing in the morning tells your brain, English is part of my daily life. After you wash your face or brush your teeth, you can keep going. Talk to yourself in English about what you're doing. For example, I am brushing my teeth. I am washing my face. I am making my bed. This is simple, but it helps you connect actions with English words. You don't need to think too much. Just describe what's happening. Next, let's move to breakfast. Food is a great chance to practice English because you can use words every single day. For example, if you're eating eggs, say, I am cooking eggs. I am eating bread and eggs. I am drinking tea. If you like, you can ask yourself questions in English and answer them. What am I eating? I am eating rice. What am I drinking? I am drinking coffee. When you practice like this, you are not only learning words, you are training your brain to think in English step by step. Now, let's add something extra. Motivation. In the morning, you can repeat short, positive phrases in English. For example, I believe in myself. I can learn English. I will practice every day. English will open doors for me. These short lines are called affirmations. They help you feel stronger and more confident. If you say them every morning, they become part of your mindset. Another idea, while you get ready in the morning, listen to a short English podcast or a YouTube video for learners. Don't worry if you don't understand every word. Just listening helps your ears get used to English sounds. Even 5 minutes while you dress or while you make tea is enough. Here's a small routine you can try tomorrow morning. Wake up and speak English right away. Say something like, "Good morning, today will be a great day." While washing or dressing, describe what you are doing. I am putting on my shirt. I am brushing my hair. At breakfast, talk about your food and drink. I am eating rice. I am drinking tea. Say your affirmations. I believe in myself. I can learn English. Listen to 5 minutes of English audio, a podcast, a video, or even music in English. If you do these steps, you will begin each day with English energy. Now, let's add some dialogues you can practice. Imagine you are speaking with a friend in the morning. Friend, good morning, how are you? You, good morning, I'm fine, I feel ready for today. Or another one. Friend, what did you have for breakfast? You, I had bread and milk, it was simple but nice. And one more. Friend, what are you going to do today? You, I'm going to work, I have a busy day. Practice these dialogues aloud. You can even pretend to be both people like an actor. This is a fun way to prepare for real conversations. Remember, your morning routine doesn't need to be long. Even 5 to 10 minutes of speaking or listening in English can make a big difference. The key is do it every day. Consistency is more powerful than doing a lot once in a while. Let's try a short morning routine together right now. Repeat after me. Good morning. Today is a new day. I am brushing my teeth. I am eating breakfast. I believe in myself. I can learn English. Did you repeat? If yes, you already practiced a morning routine. When you make English part of your mornings, you will notice something. English doesn't feel like homework anymore. It feels like life. It feels natural. And when learning feels natural, you stay motivated. So tomorrow morning, don't just wake up and scroll your phone. Wake up and start with English. Speak it. Hear it. Feel it. Make English your habit from the very beginning of your day. This is how small routines build big confidence. This afternoon, I sat by the window with a cup of tea and simply watched the light change in the sky. It was nothing dramatic. No loud sounds, no big events. Just a soft, ordinary moment. But as I sat there, I realized something important. Even small, quiet moments can feel special if we pause long enough to notice them. Sometimes I forget this. I think life needs to be about big achievements, big goals, big wins. But peace, the kind that makes us breathe a little easier, often comes from simple pauses. A notebook by my side. A calm breath. The thought that later I can share these reflections with you. So let me ask you, what small, ordinary thing today made you feel a little more alive? And then let's take it deeper. What are you really fighting for these days? Not in a dramatic way with big battles or loud victories. I mean the quiet fight, the everyday fight. The moment when you pull yourself out of bed even though you're still tired. The moment when you study one more word, say no to one more distraction, or try again after falling short. That's also a fight. It may not look like one. There's no music playing in the background. Nobody claps for you, but it counts. It matters. Often, we wait for life to feel like a big turning point. But in reality, our lives are built from tiny, invisible decisions. And that is why I want to talk with you about the fight for your future. Your future is not far away. It's not something that suddenly arrives one day like magic. It's being shaped right now. By the way you treat yourself, by how you spend your time, by what you are willing to stand up for, even when no one is watching. Sometimes I wonder how many people quietly give up on their future. Not because they don't care, and not because they don't have dreams, but simply because the future feels too far away. It feels distant, almost unreal. So they say things like, I'll fix that later. I'll try harder next month. I'll chase that dream when I'm more ready. But here's the truth. The future doesn't arrive all at once in some dramatic moment like a lightning bolt. It comes in soft steps, small, quiet, invisible steps. You don't notice them day by day. You don't see the change in the mirror every morning. But one day, without realizing it, you wake up and your life has already shifted, shaped by all the little choices you've been making. So the question is not, what will I do someday? The real question is, what am I building right now with my choices today? Think about it for a moment. Every single decision you make, no matter how small, is like a vote for the kind of life you want. It's not just the big decisions that shape you. It's not only when you change jobs, move cities, or go back to school. The big changes matter, of course. But the real battle is in the tiny decisions you make every day. Do I scroll through my phone for another hour, or do I choose to sleep? Do I speak kindly to myself, or do I criticize myself again? Do I keep my routine, or do I break another promise I made to myself? This is where the fight for your future truly happens. Not in the big, obvious events. It happens in silence. It happens in daily patterns. It happens in those ordinary moments when no one else is there to cheer you on and no one is watching. Maybe you've felt this fight before. Waking up early when your bed feels too warm and comfortable. Turning away from something that offers quick pleasure but long-term pain. Choosing the harder path, not because you feel like it, but because you know your future self will be grateful. It's not easy. Some days it feels almost impossible. You might ask yourself, what's the point? Why should I keep trying if I don't see results yet? Why should I fight if I still feel stuck? And I get it, I really do. That feeling of being stuck is heavy. It can feel endless. But here's what I want to remind you of. You are not stuck. You are building. Every small effort you make today is part of the fight for your future. You might not see the change today. You might not feel it next week. But if you keep going, one day you'll look back and realize something powerful. You didn't quit on yourself. You didn't stop fighting. And because you stayed in the fight, your future opened up. Let me paint a picture. Imagine you're planting seeds in a garden. You water them, but nothing seems to happen at first. You keep watering. Still nothing. Day after day, it feels pointless. But underground, something is happening. Roots are forming. Life is preparing to break through the soil. And then one day, almost suddenly, you see green shoots pushing upward. You realize it was never pointless. Growth was happening all along, just out of sight. That's how the fight for your future works. Every time you choose courage over comfort, every time you show up when it feels boring, every time you make a small promise and keep it, you are planting seeds. The results may not be visible today, but they will come. And when they do, you'll see how much your small efforts mattered. So let me ask you again, what kind of life are you quietly fighting for? Not the life you imagine in a perfect world, not the one you tell yourself you'll chase someday. I mean the real one, the one built from your daily choices. And more importantly, what can you do today, just today, to honor that future? It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't even have to be big. It just has to be honest. The fight for your future is not about doing everything at once. It's not about never failing or never being tired. It's about the quiet loyalty you show to yourself, even in the smallest actions. It's about waking up tomorrow and saying, I'm still here. I'm still trying. I still believe in my future. Because here's the truth. The person you're becoming is shaped more by what you do consistently than by what you do occasionally. Consistency doesn't always look exciting, but it builds a foundation that lasts. And maybe today is the day you decide to plant one more seed, to take one more small step, to cast one more vote for the future you want to live. It doesn't matter if no one else sees it. It doesn't matter if there's no applause. What matters is that you know deep inside that you're not giving up. You're building something. And that fight, quiet, invisible, but steady, is worth everything. There is something strange about comfort. At first, it feels so safe. It feels like peace. You rest a little longer. You skip one task and you tell yourself, just today, I need a break. And sometimes that's true. Sometimes you really do need a break. You are tired, you are overwhelmed, you need to breathe. But here's the problem. Comfort doesn't always stop where it should. One day off becomes 3. One skipped habit becomes 2 weeks. And before you realize it, comfort has turned into your new routine. It feels warm, it feels familiar, but it doesn't move you forward. And the longer you stay there, the harder it feels to leave. I've seen this in my own life. Maybe you have too. There were times when I told myself, I'll get back on track next week. But then next week came, and I still felt behind. Because I felt behind, I didn't even try. And that's the trap of comfort. It whispers that you should pause when what you really need is to begin again. Comfort promises rest, but often it delivers regret. Think about it. How many times have you wanted to study more, eat better, speak up, or simply show up? But comfort whispered, not today. And then weeks later, you looked back and wondered, where did the time go? Maybe you even wondered what happened to that version of yourself who was so full of energy, passion, and dreams. The truth is, nothing happened to them. They are still here. They are just sleeping under the blanket of comfort, waiting for you to wake them up. So here's the real question. Is this rest or is this avoidance? Are you choosing comfort as a way to care for yourself, or are you hiding inside it? Because there is a cost to comfort. Every time you say, maybe later, your future pays for it. And I don't say this to scare you. I say it to remind you of how valuable your future really is. Comfort itself isn't bad. It's a natural human desire. We all want peace, safety, and ease. But lasting peace, the deep, satisfying kind, comes not from hiding in comfort, but from growing through discomfort. Think about the last time you pushed yourself to do something difficult. Maybe it was studying even when you felt tired. Maybe it was saying no to a distraction. Maybe it was speaking in English even when you were nervous. Afterward, didn't you feel stronger? Didn't you feel proud? That's the kind of peace that comfort can never give you. Real confidence is built in those moments. When you stretch, when you show up, when you keep your word to yourself, that's when confidence grows. And that's when rest feels deserved, not stolen. Let me give you a picture to hold on to. Imagine your dream is a garden. Comfort is like lying in the sun next to it. It feels nice, it feels warm, but the garden doesn't water itself. If you lie there too long, the soil dries up, the plants weaken, and one day you realize that your garden, your dream, didn't die from failure. It died from neglect. That's a painful thought, but also a powerful one. Because it means your dream doesn't need you to be perfect. It just needs you to water it again. It needs you to take one action, even a small one that says, I'm still here, I still care. You don't need to fight against comfort with anger. You only need to choose courage, one quiet moment at a time. Yes, you can still rest, but let your rest be real. Let it restore you. Let it support your growth, not delay it. There is a big difference between rest that heals you and comfort that hides you. So today, take a look at your life with honesty. Where are you sitting in comfort when you could be stepping forward? Where have you been waiting for the right time instead of starting with what you have? There's no need for guilt, no need for shame, just awareness. Because once you see clearly, you can choose differently. And that choice, that one small, quiet act of courage, is how you step back into the life you are meant to live. You don't need to change everything in a day. You don't need a huge transformation. You just need to take the next step. Comfort will always be there, whispering, stay a little longer. But courage can whisper too. It says, come on, let's grow. And the beautiful thing is, once you take that step, even a small one, you often realize it wasn't as hard as you feared. The hardest part is not the action itself. The hardest part is deciding to leave the blanket of comfort behind. So ask yourself, what seed can I water today? What small action can I take right now that honors the dream I want to grow? It doesn't matter if no one else notices. It doesn't matter if it feels ordinary. What matters is that you're choosing growth over avoidance. And every time you do that, you build trust with yourself. You prove to yourself that you can keep going. Comfort is easy. Courage is harder. But courage is where your future lives. When you think about success, what comes to mind? For many people, success looks big. It looks like reaching the top of the mountain, winning the prize, or living the dream life. But here's the truth. Success rarely comes from one huge moment. Most of the time, it comes from hundreds of small steps, repeated over and over again. We live in a world that celebrates big results. We see headlines, awards, and achievements. We hear stories of someone who made it overnight. But what we don't see are the long, quiet days of effort that led there. The early mornings, the late nights, the discipline to show up when nobody was watching. And this is important to understand because when you believe success is only about big moments, you may feel discouraged. You might think, I'm not there yet, my progress is too small, maybe I'll never make it. But small doesn't mean weak. Small doesn't mean unimportant. Small is powerful if you repeat it. Think of water dripping on a stone. One drop looks like nothing, but over time, that steady drip shapes the stone itself. That's what your daily actions do. Each small effort shapes your future. Each small choice makes you stronger. So ask yourself, what are the small steps that matter for you right now? Maybe it's reading one page. Maybe it's practicing English for 15 minutes. Maybe it's choosing water instead of soda. None of these look dramatic, but over months and years, they can change your life completely. There's a saying, how you do anything is how you do everything. When you show up for the small things, you train your mind and your body for the big things. You teach yourself discipline, consistency, and trust. And trust is important, because if you don't trust yourself to follow through, you'll always feel stuck. Let me give you an example. Imagine two people both want to run a marathon. The first person buys the best shoes, makes a big plan, and waits for the perfect day to start. The second person simply puts on any shoes and runs 1 kilometer today. Tomorrow they run another. The day after, another. Who do you think will finish the marathon? It's not the one with the perfect plan. It's the one with consistent action. Small steps win because they build momentum. Momentum is a powerful force. Once you start moving, even slowly, you create energy. You feel progress, progress. You begin to believe, I can do this. And that belief fuels the next step and the next, until suddenly you're running further than you ever thought possible. But here's the challenge. Small steps don't always feel exciting. They can feel boring, ordinary, invisible. You may even ask, does this really matter? That's why many people give up. They don't quit because the dream is impossible. They quit because the process feels too quiet. But that's exactly why you must keep going. Because while it feels invisible today, it will feel undeniable tomorrow. Every language learner knows this. On day 1, you study words and you wonder, will I ever remember all this? But after 100 days, you surprise yourself. You understand a song, you follow a movie, you speak to a stranger, and you realize every small study session mattered. This is how growth works. Slow, steady, invisible at first, then unstoppable. So let me remind you, don't wait for the big moment to feel proud. Celebrate the small steps now. Smile when you finish a page. Feel strong when you complete your workout. Notice the progress when you practice speaking, even if you still make mistakes. Every small step deserves your respect, because every small step is building the future you want. Think of your life as a staircase. You don't need to leap to the top in one jump. You only need to climb one step at a time. Some days you climb fast, some days you move slow. But as long as you keep climbing, you will reach higher and higher. And here's something beautiful. Small steps don't just build results. They also build identity. When you write a little every day, you become a writer. When you practice English every day, you become a speaker. When you exercise daily, you become someone who cares for their body. Identity is not given. It is built, one small step at a time. So today, instead of asking, when will I be successful? Try asking, what is the small step I can take right now? Because success is not a place you arrive at. It's a direction you walk in. Remember, small steps may look ordinary, but they are extraordinary in what they create. Don't underestimate them. Don't ignore them. Trust them. One day, you'll look back and you'll realize it was never about one giant leap. It was always about the small, steady steps you chose, even when no one was watching. And that's how dreams are built. Quietly, patiently, one step at a time. Let's talk about one of the greatest challenges in life. Failure. The word itself feels heavy, doesn't it? Nobody enjoys failing. Nobody wakes up saying, I hope I fail today. But here's the secret. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. Think about a baby learning to walk. The baby falls again and again. But does the baby think, walking is not for me? No, the baby keeps trying. Falling is not the end. It's the process. And eventually the baby walks. That's exactly how growth works for all of us. But as adults, we often forget this truth. We fear failure. We hide from it. We avoid risks because we don't want to look weak or stupid or unprepared. And in doing so, we miss the opportunities that could have changed our lives. So let's reframe failure. Instead of asking, what if I fail? Try asking, what will I learn if I fail? Because every failure contains a lesson. Every mistake carries information. And information is power, if you pay attention. Some of the most successful people in history failed many times before achieving greatness. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, once said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that don't work. Imagine if he had stopped at failure number 500. We might still be living in darkness. Failure is not a sign you should quit. It's a sign you are trying. It means you are alive, you are moving, you are reaching. The only real failure is refusing to try. But here's the challenge. Failure hurts. It can feel embarrassing, painful, and discouraging. So how do you keep going after you fall? The answer is mindset. If you see failure as proof that you're not good enough, you'll stop. But if you see failure as proof that you are learning, you'll grow stronger. Failure can either be your wall or your stepping stone. You decide. Let me give you an example. Imagine two students both trying to learn English. The first student speaks once, makes mistakes, and feels embarrassed. They say, "I'm terrible at English, I'll never improve." So they stop practicing. The second student speaks, also makes mistakes, but thinks, "Great, now I know what to fix." So they practice more. Who do you think will succeed? It's not about who is smarter, it's about who is willing to fail forward. Failing forward means using mistakes as momentum. You fall, you learn, you adjust, and you keep moving. You don't waste energy on shame. You don't waste time on self-doubt. You take the lesson and keep climbing. And here's the truth. Every expert you admire was once a beginner who failed many times. Every athlete, every musician, every speaker, every leader. Nobody started perfect. They built skills through failure. So the next time you fail, don't say, "I'm not good enough." Say, "This is part of the process." Treat failure like a teacher. Ask, "What is this trying to show me? What can I do differently next time?" That's how you turn pain into progress. There's another important point here. Failure also builds resilience. Resilience means the ability to bounce back after setbacks. Imagine a rubber ball. When it hits the ground, it doesn't stay down. It bounces back up. That's what resilience does for you. And how do you build resilience? By falling and rising again. Without failure, you cannot build resilience. Without resilience, you cannot reach your true potential. Because life will always test you. Challenges will come. If you break at the first fall, you'll never see what's possible. But if you rise again and again, you'll discover strength you never knew you had. Here's something to remember. Failure is temporary. Quitting is permanent. As long as you keep moving, you haven't failed. You are still in the game. So instead of hiding from failure, step into it. Speak even if your grammar is not perfect. Try even if you're not sure of the result. Apply for the job even if you're scared of rejection. Write the book even if you're afraid no one will read it. Every action teaches you something. Every failure brings you closer to success. Let's return to the story of the baby learning to walk. Imagine if the baby decided, "I fell 3 times. Walking is not for me." Ridiculous, right? Yet as adults, we often do this. We try something a few times, fail, and then decide, "This isn't for me." But success is rarely instant. It is repeated effort through repeated failure. So let failure be your training. Let mistakes be your practice ground. Every wrong answer brings you closer to the right one. Every failed attempt brings you closer to mastery. Remember this, failure is not final. It's feedback. Feedback tells you what works and what doesn't. Feedback is how you adjust. And adjustment is how you grow. So the next time you fall, don't be ashamed. Smile. Because you're not failing, you're learning. You're not weak, you're training. And every failure is moving you forward, even if you don't see it yet. One day, you'll look back and the failures that once felt painful will feel precious. You'll realize they weren't obstacles. They were stepping stones. They didn't stop you. They shaped you. That's the beauty of failure. It teaches. It strengthens. It prepares you for the success that is waiting on the other side. Now, let's talk about something deeply personal. Your choices. Every single day, you are making choices that either move you closer to the future you want or keep you stuck where you are. Most of the time, these choices don't feel dramatic. They're small, almost invisible. Do I wake up on time or press snooze again? Do I practice English for 20 minutes or do I scroll on my phone? Do I eat something healthy or grab something quick and empty? Tiny choices, quiet decisions. But together, they are shaping the story of your life. Think of your future as a garden. Every decision is a seed. Some seeds grow into flowers, some grow into weeds. Every day you are planting something. The question is, are you planting the seeds that will bring beauty, strength, and growth into your future? Or are you planting seeds that will choke your dreams before they bloom? It's easy to forget this because the results of small choices are not immediate. If you skip studying English today, your ability doesn't vanish overnight. If you spend one day being lazy, your health doesn't collapse instantly. But here's the hidden truth. The results come later. Just like a garden, the seeds you plant today will show up in weeks, months, and years. That's why so many people feel confused about their lives. They don't connect their current results to the choices they made long ago. But every moment is connected. What you do today becomes who you are tomorrow. This can feel heavy, but it's actually empowering. Because it means you are not powerless. You don't need to wait for luck. You don't need to wait for someone else to save you. Your future is in your hands, through your choices. Think about this. When you say yes to discipline, you are saying yes to your future. When you say yes to excuses, you are saying no to your future. It's that simple. Every yes and every no is shaping you. Of course, none of us can make perfect choices all the time. You're human. You will make mistakes. But the key is consistency. If most of your choices are aligned with your dreams, your future will reflect that. Let me give you an example. Imagine two students again. Both want to speak English fluently. Student A studies for 10 minutes each day, practices speaking out loud, and listens to English podcasts on their commute. Student B waits for motivation and studies once every 2 weeks for an hour. Who will succeed? Obviously, student A. Not because they're smarter, but because they made consistent choices. Consistency beats intensity. Tiny, repeated choices build powerful results over time. But here's something even more important. Your choices don't just shape your skills, they shape your identity. Every action you take is a vote for the person you want to become. When you choose to study, you are voting to be a learner. When you choose to speak, even with mistakes, you are voting to be a communicator. When you choose to rise after failure, you are voting to be resilient. So ask yourself, who do you want to be? Not just what do you want to achieve, but who do you want to become? Your answer to that question should guide your daily choices. If you want to be someone who is confident, then practice confidence in small ways today. If you want to be someone who is disciplined, then act with discipline today, even in small things. If you want to be someone who is fluent, then practice speaking today, even if only for 5 minutes. The danger is not one wrong choice. The danger is letting wrong choices become habits. Because habits create your destiny. Habits are just repeated choices. If your choices are careless, your habits will weaken you. If your choices are intentional, your habits will empower you. So, what can you do right now? Start small. Choose one area of your life where you want to grow. Then ask yourself, what small choice can I make today that aligns with that growth? Do it, then repeat tomorrow. And the next day. Over time, those small choices will transform you. Some people think change is about big, dramatic actions. But most of the time, change is quiet. It's a choice no one else sees. It's the moment you close the app and open your textbook. It's the moment you say no to gossip and yes to kindness. It's the moment you drink water instead of soda. Small choices, invisible at first, but powerful later. Here's the truth. Life will test you. Distractions will tempt you. Excuses will whisper in your ear. Relax, you deserve a break. It doesn't matter today. But it does matter. Every day matters. Every choice matters. And your future is worth protecting. So guard it with discipline. Guard it with clarity. Guard it with choices that reflect who you want to become. And when you feel weak, remember this. Even one good choice can restart your path. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to begin again, and again, and again. That's how strong lives are built. Not by never falling, but by choosing to rise each time. Your future is waiting for you. It's not a mystery. It's a reflection of your choices. So choose wisely, choose consistently, and choose with courage. Let's turn now to another powerful truth. Your environment shapes your future. You are not only influenced by your inner choices, but also by the people and surroundings around you. Think about this. If you spend time with people who complain all the time, who never try, who give up easily, how will you feel? Slowly, you'll start to adopt the same mindset. Complaining will feel normal. Quitting will feel acceptable. On the other hand, if you spend time with people who push themselves, who encourage growth, who celebrate learning, you'll feel inspired to rise higher. This is why the saying is true. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you want to grow, you need to surround yourself with people who are also growing. If you want to learn, be with people who value learning. If you want to succeed, spend time with people who believe in success. But your environment is not only about people. It's also about habits, routines, and even the media you consume. What you read, watch, and listen to is shaping your thinking every single day. If you fill your mind with negative news, gossip, and distractions, your thoughts will become cloudy and heavy. But if you fill your mind with positive lessons, motivational ideas, and useful knowledge, your thoughts will become clear and strong. Your brain is like a sponge. It absorbs what you give it. So, what are you feeding it? Garbage or growth? Let's look at an example. Imagine 2 learners again. Student A surrounds themselves with English learning. They listen to podcasts while walking. They follow social media accounts that teach new vocabulary. They join an online group where people practice speaking. Student B, on the other hand, spends all their time scrolling through entertainment and gossip. Who will progress faster? The answer is obvious. It's not about intelligence, it's about environment. The environment is either pushing you forward or pulling you backward. Now, let's talk about the power of role models. Role models are people who show us what is possible. They can be teachers, authors, leaders, or even family members. Watching someone who lives with discipline, confidence, and kindness can inspire us to do the same. That's why it's important to choose carefully who you admire and who you follow. But don't just admire from a distance. Learn actively. Ask, what habits do they practice? What attitudes do they carry? What choices do they make daily? Then bring those into your own life. This doesn't mean copying someone completely. It means learning the principles behind their success. Maybe your role model reads every day. That teaches you the value of consistent knowledge. Maybe they wake up early. That shows you the power of discipline. Take the lessons and apply them in your own way. Your environment also includes the spaces you create for yourself. Is your room, desk, or study area full of distractions, or does it invite focus? If your phone is always buzzing with notifications, can you really concentrate? Sometimes the best way to grow is not to add more effort, but to remove the distractions that block your effort. Here's a practical idea. Design your environment to make good habits easier and bad habits harder. For example, if you want to practice English daily, put your notebook on your desk where you can see it. Keep a podcast app ready on your phone. On the other hand, if you want to stop wasting time, move distracting apps off your home screen or set a timer for your usage. Make growth easy. Make distraction difficult. And remember, your environment is not fixed. You can change it. You can choose better friends. You can build healthier routines. You can decide what information you consume. You can design your surroundings to support the future you want. But here's something even deeper. You also have the power to create a positive environment for others. You can be the encourager. You can be the one who speaks life into people's dreams. You can be the example that makes someone else believe in their own future. Because growth is not only personal, it's collective. We rise higher when we rise together. That's why being part of a supportive community is so important. Alone, you may go fast, but together, you go far. So ask yourself, who is in my environment right now? Are they lifting me up or pulling me down? What do I consume daily? Is it helping me grow or keeping me stuck? What small changes can I make in my environment to support my dreams? Remember, your environment is like the soil for your life. Even the best seed cannot grow in poor soil. But in rich soil, even a small seed can become a strong tree. Your potential is like that seed. Protect it, nurture it, plant it in an environment where it can thrive. You may not control everything in your surroundings, but you control more than you think. And every improvement, no matter how small, makes a difference. Your future is not only about what's inside you, it's also about what's around you. So build an environment that reflects the future you want, not the past you've left behind. There's one more truth I want to leave with you. It's about loyalty. Not to other people this time, but to yourself. Think for a moment. How many times have you made a promise to yourself? I'll wake up early. I'll study English for 30 minutes today. I'll start eating healthier. But then, the next day, you broke that promise. You slept in, you skipped the study, you told yourself, tomorrow will be better. And tomorrow never came. Breaking promises to yourself doesn't only stop your progress. It slowly destroys your trust in yourself. Every time you say one thing but do another, a quiet voice in your head starts whispering, "See, you don't really follow through. You can't rely on yourself." And when you don't trust yourself, it becomes harder to dream, harder to commit, harder to fight for your future. But here's the good news. Trust can be rebuilt. Just like with a friend, it doesn't happen all at once. It happens through small, consistent actions. You show up, you keep your word, you follow through. And slowly, you begin to believe in yourself again. This is why small wins matter so much. When you set a tiny goal and achieve it, you prove to yourself, I can be trusted. Maybe it's reading 1 page a day. Maybe it's practicing 5 English sentences aloud. Maybe it's walking for 10 minutes instead of scrolling on your phone. These are not small at all. They are the bricks that rebuild your inner foundation. Because here's the truth, your future self is watching. And every choice you make today tells your future self something. It says, I care about you, or I've forgotten about you. When you keep your promises, you send love forward in time. You say, I won't let you down. Some days, keeping that promise will feel boring. Some days, it will feel lonely. You may look around and think, nobody sees me trying. Nobody is clapping for me. But loyalty isn't about applause. It's about consistency, the small, invisible, uncelebrated efforts. That's where transformation lives. Think about a seed again. It spends weeks, even months underground before anyone notices. No one applauds the seed. No one cheers for the roots. But without that hidden loyalty, showing up every day to push through the soil, the plant would never grow. You are the same. So here's the challenge. Be loyal to your future self. Not just when it's exciting. Not just when it's easy. Be loyal especially when it feels dull, ordinary, or hard. That's the real test. And here's another thing. Don't underestimate the middle. Change doesn't feel dramatic most of the time. It feels slow. It feels quiet. It feels like nothing is happening. But in truth, everything is happening. Invisible roots are growing. Habits are forming. A new identity is being built. The middle is uncomfortable, yes, but it's also sacred. Because it's in the middle where you prove to yourself, I don't quit. Let me remind you of something simple but powerful. Progress is not built on perfect days. It's built on ordinary days, when you choose to keep going anyway. Even 5 minutes of effort matters. Even one kind thought toward yourself matters. Even the smallest action, repeated with loyalty, becomes unstoppable over time. So today, instead of asking, am I perfect yet? Am I successful yet? Ask yourself this. Did I show up for myself today? Did I keep one small promise to my future? If the answer is yes, then you are winning. Even if it feels invisible, you are building something strong. And here's the most beautiful part. Your future self is not a stranger. It's you. More healed, more confident, more peaceful. That version of you is waiting, not at the finish line, but along the path. They are cheering you on, grateful that you didn't delay one more day, grateful that you stayed loyal even when no one else was watching. So take a deep breath. Let go of the pressure to be perfect. Remember, your fight for the future doesn't have to be loud, it just has to be consistent. It just has to be yours. Keep showing up. Keep keeping your word. Keep being loyal to the person you're becoming. Because one day you'll look back and realize something powerful. You didn't just survive, you built, you grew, you fought. And your future is better because you chose not to give up.